the summer of 55 BCE, a feat stuns the continent. Roman legionaries, under Julius Caesar's command, build a wooden bridge across the Rhine in just 10 days. Over 500 meters long, 4 meters wide, and supported by 56 piers. It has been studied and admired for centuries, proof that no barrier can halt Rome's ambition. Why this construction, and how did Caesar gain such power in Gaul? Retrace the steps leading here, and discover the events destined to spark even greater upheaval. By the close of 56 BCE, Caesar's grip on Gaul has tightened. Fresh from triumphs against various tribes, he stations his legions in winter quarters across central and northern territories. Roads are improved, supply lines secured, and new garrisons established. Yet this outward show of stability masks a growing undercurrent of discontent. Many Gallic communities chafe under Roman demands for tribute, fearing impoverishment if they fail to deliver grain and gold on schedule. Others resent the constant billeting of troops, which strains local resources and erodes traditional power structures. Quiet disapproval simmers in tribal assemblies, where chieftains debate whether appeasing Rome is truly less dangerous than open defiance. For Caesar, these months demand a delicate balance. He must maintain Roman order through efficient administration and targeted displays of force, all while preventing resentful tribes from forging coalitions that could threaten his carefully built foothold in Gaul. Alarming reports spread that two Germanic tribes, the Tincteri and the Usipeti, had crossed the Rhine and were roaming Gaul in search of land. Determined to end these incursions, Caesar advanced with 8 legions, about 40,000 to 45,000 infantry, to confront them. At first, the tribes sued for peace, but skirmishes soon erupted. Caesar accused them of violating a truce and unleashed a devastating attack on their camp. Ancient sources claim up to 400,000 Tincteri and Usipeti, men, women, and children, were killed or captured. The horror of this slaughter sparked outrage in Rome, where some demanded Caesar's punishment. Marcus Porcius Cato, in particular, insisted that Caesar be handed over to the barbarians so Rome could purge itself of guilt for breaking the truce. Fresh from this grim episode, Caesar resolved to send a message that no frontier could protect Rome's adversaries. Near the confluence of the Rhine and the Moselle, close to modern Koblenz, he ordered his engineers to construct a wooden bridge in only 10 days, enabling his legions to march east of the river. Once across, Caesar briefly ravaged local settlements, forged short-term alliances to keep the Germanic tribes on edge, and then withdrew. Convinced his display of power had served its purpose, he dismantled the bridge, leaving behind a stark warning that Rome could reach any foe at will.
Did you know that most people who watch our documentaries aren't subscribed yet? If you enjoy animated maps and history, join our community. Leave a like and subscribe so you never miss the next episodes.
Only weeks after dismantling his wooden bridge over the Rhine, Caesar pursued another bold endeavor, an incursion into Britain. Officially, he aimed to intercept any aid the islanders might provide to rebellious Gauls. Yet, in his Commentari de Bello Gallico, Caesar himself highlights a deeper motive. He longed, quote, to see what sort of people inhabited that island, to learn of their lands, harbors, and approaches, all unknown matters. The timing was hardly ideal. It was late summer, winter loomed, and Caesar brought just 2 legions, around 10,000 men, from Portus Itius, modern Boulogne. Similar to a curious Odysseus venturing into the land of the Cyclops, Caesar embarked on a campaign that proved both perilous and sensational. The Romans faced storm-tossed landings, fierce resistance from inhabitants said to dye themselves blue, and rumors of shared wives among their tribes. Though Caesar won a few minor skirmishes and secured informal agreements with some local chieftains, his position remained precarious. He soon withdrew, framing the expedition as a diplomatic triumph. Yet its resonance across Rome was immense. For the first time, A Roman force had crossed the Western Ocean and sailed the Atlantic, sealing Caesar's reputation as a commander willing to push the empire's boundaries to their utmost limits. Before embarking on his second venture to Britain, Caesar confronted deepening resentments in Gaul. Determined to stifle potential uprisings, he commanded several Gallic nobles to join him, among them Dumnorige, whose brother Diviciacus had once supported Rome. Dumnorige refused outright, circulating rumors that Caesar aimed to lure Gallic leaders away only to have them discreetly executed. In an act of overt defiance, he left the Roman camp. Caesar swiftly ordered him seized or killed if he resisted. Cornered, Dumnorige implored his men to remain loyal, crying, "I am a free man of a free people," before he was slain. This episode laid bare the growing hostility festering under Roman rule, a tension soon to reverberate beyond Gaul. Despite such unrest, Caesar pressed ahead. He resolved to surpass his initial British foray, where storms and meager numbers had curtailed any lasting success. According to his own Commentari de Bello Gallico, Book 5, and other ancient sources, he commissioned a large-scale shipbuilding effort. Caesar claims around 600 new transport vessels, supplemented by 28 specialized warships, each with a shallower draft than standard Roman galleys. This innovation aimed to address the treacherous coastal landings that had plagued his first expedition, offering greater stability when beaching on the island's open shores. Leading 5 legions, some 25,000 infantry, plus cavalry across the channel, Caesar hoped to thrust deeper into southeastern Britain. He confronted fierce tribal coalitions under Cassivellaunus, who excelled in chariot warfare. Yet storms again battered his fleet, making supplies difficult to land and protect. While local chieftains yielded hostages and pledged tribute, no permanent occupation materialized. Winter approached, forcing Caesar to withdraw. He returned to Gaul with elevated prestige and the knowledge that he could project power overseas. Though Dumnorige's rebellion hinted at much broader discontent, ready to explode should Caesar's focus waver. Fresh from his British campaigns, Caesar nonetheless returned to a Gaul simmering with discontent. He chose to scatter his legions across various northeastern territories for winter, hoping that smaller garrisons would keep potential rebels in check. Yet local leaders, wary of Roman requisitions and forced billeting, quietly resented this continued presence. Around the same time, Caesar suffered a devastating personal loss. His daughter Julia, married to Pompey as part of the Triumvirate Pact, died in childbirth. Although Pompey remained formally allied to Caesar and even sent 2 legions to replace recent losses, the familial bond uniting them was severed forever. Back in Gaul, the greatest danger lay among the Eburones, led by the cunning Ambiorix. One Roman legion, about 5,000 men, under Quintus Titurius Sabinus and Lucius Aurunculeius Cotta, made camp in Eburon territory. Ambiorix approached them with false promises of safe passage, claiming a looming Germanic threat nearby. Trusting his word, Sabinus and Cotta broke camp, only to be ambushed in a narrow valley. Almost the entire legion was massacred. The 2 commanders themselves perished in the chaos. Emboldened by Ambiorix's success, neighboring tribes like the Nervi attempted similar raids on other isolated Roman outposts. Alarmed, Caesar raced to relieve a besieged fort held by Quintus Tullius Cicero, narrowly preventing another disaster. In the aftermath, Rome's grip on Gaul appeared more fragile than ever, and the winter encampments, meant to maintain order, had become a lethal vulnerability. Meanwhile, the death of Julia eroded Caesar's political stability. Although Pompey remained outwardly supportive, sending those extra legions, cracks were forming in the Triumvirate. By 53 BCE, nearly all Gallic tribes, except the Aedui and Remi, would join in a wider revolt, signaling that Caesar's victories had done little to quell Gallic resentment. With Gaul smoldering from the previous winter's turmoil, Caesar mounted a relentless counteroffensive in 53 BCE. His first targets were the Nervi, Carnudi, and the Senones, all of whom had shown varying degrees of defiance. Faced with the devastation of their fields and settlements, these tribes quickly surrendered, preferring capitulation over ruin. Caesar next marched against the Menapii, who likewise posed a risk along the northern frontier. Only after subduing these pockets of resistance did he consolidate 8 or 9 legions, roughly 35,000 to 40,000 men, to exact severe vengeance on the Eburones, considered prime instigators of the latest revolt. Rather than engaging in prolonged chases through wetlands, Caesar invited neighboring tribes to hunt down the scattered Eburones in exchange for whatever plunder they could seize. The Eburones fled into inaccessible marshes, yet most were hunted down or perished from hunger. Their leader, Invades, managed to elude capture, vanishing into the wilderness and symbolizing the last spark of resistance in the region. Caesar's message to all Gaul was unambiguous. Any tribe daring to challenge Rome would face utter devastation. Satisfied he had quelled immediate threats, Caesar once again turned to the Rhine. He constructed a second wooden bridge, another demonstration of Roman engineering, to cross the river, hoping to discourage Germanic tribes from aiding any future Gallic uprisings. This brief campaign east of the Rhine involved minimal direct clashes. Most Germanic groups kept their distance, mindful of Caesar's ruthless reputation. Soon, he dismantled the bridge, having reasserted Rome's supremacy beyond the river. Even as Caesar solidified his military grip on Gaul, events far from its borders reshaped his political standing. Marcus Licinius Crassus, his ally in the First Triumvirate, sought glory in Syria but met disaster in Carrhae, where he was defeated and killed by the Parthians. With Crassus gone, the Triumvirate effectively collapsed. In Rome, Caesar's enemies seized the opportunity to undermine his position, and Pompey, now widowed after Julius' death, drifted closer to the aristocratic faction in the Senate. In 52 BCE, Caesar's staunch supporter, Publio Clodio Pulchro Clodius, was slain in a street brawl, robbing him of a crucial ally in the capital. Amid these upheavals, Caesar remained in Gaul, still sending wealth and slaves back to Rome in an attempt to preserve his influence. Senators hostile to his growing power accused him of waging a personal war without proper oversight, and they feared he might soon challenge the Republic itself. Meanwhile, across central Gaul, dissent smoldered. Vercingetorix, an Arvernian noble, quietly forged alliances among the increasingly resentful tribes. Caesar's brutal tactics had sown fear but also kindled a fierce defiance, one about to burst into the largest, most coordinated revolt he would face. Unaware of just how perilous the situation would become, Caesar advanced confidently into what would soon be the defining challenge of his Gallic campaigns. By late 53 BCE, Caesar had consolidated power in Gaul, launched 2 expeditions to Britain, and crushed the Eburones. His ruthless methods have instilled fear, yet also fueled anger. On the horizon, a massive rebellion awaits, with Vercingetorix poised to unify Gaul in a final stand. If you've enjoyed this journey through Caesar's Gallic campaigns, remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to catch the next episode.